Hi, I am Dehilias Glenn Ritzil, Bachelor of Science in Criminology, major in question documents. I am here to tackle about what is criminology. So what is criminology? So, according to Edwin H. Sutherland, criminology is the entire body of knowledge regarding crime as a social phenomenon. So, from the word social phenomenon, it is just like a natural disaster that is happening around the world, and crime is a natural or normalized thing in the society because it cannot be stopped. Just because it is just like a natural disasters like storms, floods, rain, and as long as there is people around, there will be also crime that is happening. So it includes within its scope the process of making of laws, breaking of laws, the society's reactions towards the breaking of laws. So making laws, what is the purpose of law in the society? This is sociology of law, and breaking of laws, why people break the law. This is etiology of crimes, and how do people react on people who break the law. This is penology, and we will sum this later on the principal divisions of criminology. Any person who is a graduate of the degree of criminology, who has passed the examination for criminologists, and is registered as such by the Board of Examiners of the Professional Regulation Commissions or PRC, is called criminologist. Origin of the word criminology. Etymologically, the term criminology came from the Latin word crimen, meaning crime, and Greek word logos, which means to study. In 1885, Rafael Garofalo, an Italian law professor, coined the term criminologia. And in 1889, Paul Topinard, French anthropologist, used the term criminology in French criminology for the first time. So, number 1, sociology of law refers to the investigation of the nature of criminal law and its administration. So, number 1, sociology of law, the study of law that must bring into society and how the process of law works. Criminal etiology, the scientific analysis of the causes of crimes and the criminal behavior. Etiology means origin, root cause. Number 2, etiology of crimes, from the word origin or where it came from, or the study of where the cause of crime came from, and why the human commits crime. Number 3, penology or penal science, the study of the control of crimes and the rehabilitation of offender. Number 3, penology is the study of how to prevent and control crime. And there is a Latin word for penology, poena. Poena means punishment. So to prevent crime, there must be a punishment. Is criminology a science? According to George Wilker, criminology cannot turn into science since it has not yet attained universal or worldwide validity. But the Dean of Modern Criminology, Edwin H. Sutherland, hoped that it will become a science in the future since the causes of crimes are almost the same, which may be biological, environmental, or the combination of the two. So, number 1 is social science. It is a social science because it studies crime as a social phenomenon, and crime is a social problem which has a great impact to society. So number 2 is applied science. It is an applied science because criminology as a body of knowledge has already established universally accepted principles and concepts, and these are used by the other field of studies. Number 3 is nationalistic. It is nationalistic because the study of criminology takes into consideration of the history, the culture, and the social norms and the laws of each country. Each country has its set of own laws, and crimes are defined by the laws of the country. So lastly is dynamic. It is dynamic because the concept of criminology and their applications adapt to the changing time. So, the scope and the study of criminology. So, the number one is study of the origin and development of criminal law. Number two is the study of the causes of crimes and development of criminals. Number three is the study of other sciences that examine criminal behaviors using scientific methods such as. So, number one is criminal demography, the study of the relationship between criminality and population. So, number two, criminal epidemiology, the study of the relationship between environment or milieu and criminality. So, milieu or a person's social environment. So, we're talking on how social environment can cause or influence people's behavior and how they adapt what crime they see. Number three is criminal ecology, the study of criminality in relation to the spatial distribution in a community. So, this is the interaction between criminal behavior and the environment. 4 is criminal physical anthropology, the study of criminality in relation to physical constitution of men. We're talking about physical appearance of humans, judging their physical form in relation to crime. We can judge them by looking into their eyes, their body shapes, tats, and etc. So, criminal psychiatry, the study of human mind in relation to criminality. So, psychiatry evaluates the mental state of individuals involved in criminal cases to determine factors such as their mental competency, case capacity to stand trial, and the presence of any mental disorders that may have contributed to their criminal actions. So, criminal psychology, the study of human behavior in relation to criminality. Understanding and predicting criminal behavior such as the causes of such behavior, thoughts, and feelings behind the behavior. So, victimology, the study of the role of the victim in the commission of crime. So, victimology is a subdiscipline of criminology that focuses on the victim. So when we say subdiscipline, it usually focuses on a specific subject. So the subject here is the victim. School of thought in criminology. So school of thought refers to a group of beliefs or ideas that support a specific theory. So demonological theory asserts that a person commits wrongful act due to the fact that he was possessed by demons or evil spirit. This school of thought is based on the assumption that individuals choose to commit crimes after weighing the consequences of their actions. So, according to classical criminologists, individuals have free will. So, from the word free will, they can choose legal or illegal means to get what they want. Fear of punishment can deter them from committing crime, and society can control behavior by making the pain of punishment greater than the pleasure of the criminal gains. However, this theory does not give any distinction between an adult and a minor or a mentally handicapped in as far as free will is concerned. Cesar Bonsana Marchese de Vicaria, 1738 to 1794, is best known for his essay on crimes and punishment, which presented key ideas on the abolition of torture as legitimate means of extracting confession. His book contains almost all modern penal reforms, but its greatest contribution was the foundation. It laid for subsequent changes in criminal legislation. His book was influential in the reforms of penal code in France, Russia, and Prussia, and it influenced the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Vicaria believed that number one is people want to achieve pleasure and avoid pain. Number two is crime provides some pleasure to the criminal. Third is to deter crime, he believed that one must administer pain in an appropriate amount to counterbalance the pleasure obtained from the crime. Lastly, his famous saying is, "Let the punishment fit the crime." or the idea that punishment shall be commensurate with the crime committed. So, the highlights of Cesar Becaria's ideas regarding crimes and the criminal justice system. So, number one is, in forming a human society, men and women sacrifice a portion of their liberty so as to enjoy peace and security. So, number two, punishment that go beyond the need of preserving the public safety are in the nature unjust. Number three is, criminal laws must be clear and certain. Judges must make uniform judgments in similar crimes. Stare decisis. Number four is, the law must specify the degree of evidence that will justify the detention of an accused offender prior to his trial. Number five is, accusation must be public. False accusation must be severely punished. Number six, to torture accused offenders to obtain a confession is inadmissible. Number seven, the promptitude of punishment is one of the effective curbs on crime, certainty. Number eight, the aim of punishment can only be to prevent the criminal from committing new crimes against his countrymen and to keep others from doing likewise. Punishments, therefore, and the method of inflicting them should be chosen in due proportion to the crime, so as to make the most lasting impression on the minds of men. Deterrence. Number 9. Capital punishment is inefficacious and its place should be substituted life imprisonment. Abolition of death penalty. So lastly is, it is better to prevent crimes than to punish them. That is the chief purpose of all good legislation. So, Jeremy Bentham, 1748 to 1832. His contribution to classical school of criminology is the concept of utilitarianism and the philosophical calculus. Proposed utilitarian hedonism, which explains that person always acts in such a way to seek pleasure and avoid pain. He founded the concept of utilitarianism, assumes that all our actions are calculated in accordance with their likelihood of bringing pleasure and pain. He devised the pseudo-mathematical formula called philosophical calculus, which state that individuals are human calculators who put all the factors into equation in order to decide whether a particular crime is worth committing or not. He reasoned that in order to deter individuals from committing crimes, the punishment or pain must be greater than the satisfaction or pleasure he would gain from committing the crime. Utilitarianism is a philosophy which argues that what is right is the one that would cause the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Others refer to it as the greatest happiness principle or the principle of utility. From this principle, Bentham formulated the philosophical calculus. Philosophical calculus, or the pleasure and pain principle, is a theory that process that individuals calculate the consequences of his action by weighing the pleasure gain and the pain suffering he would derive from doing the action. Number 3. Neoclassical criminology. This theory modified the doctrine of free will by stating that free will of men may be affected by other factors and crime is committing due to some compelling reasons that prevail. Number 4. Positivist, or Italian school of criminology. The term positivism refers to a method of analysis based on the collection of observable scientific facts. Positivists believe that causes of behavior can be measured and observed. It demands for facts and scientific proof, thus changing the study of crimes and criminals into a scientific approach. So, positive theorists were the first to claim the importance of looking at individual difference among criminals. These theorists, who concentrated on the individual structures of a person, stated that people are passive in control, whose behavior are imposed upon them by biological and environmental factors. So, Auguste Comte, he was a French philosopher and sociologist, and is believed to be the one who invented the French term sociology. He was recognized as the father of sociology and positivism. Cesar Lombroso, recognized as father of modern and empirical criminology, due to his application of modern scientific methods to trace criminal behavior. However, most of his ideas are now discredited. Known for one of the concept of atavistic stigmata, the physical features of creatures at an early stage of development. Inspired by Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, he claimed that criminals are distinguishable from non-criminals due to the presence of atavistic stigmata and crimes committed by those who are born with certain recognizable hereditary traits. According to his theory, criminals are usually in possession of huge jaws and strong canine teeth. The arm span of criminals is often greater than their height, just like that of apes who use their forearms to push themselves along the ground. Lombroso's work supported the idea that a criminal was a biologically and physically inferior person. According to him, there are three types of criminals. First is born criminals, individuals with at least 5 atavistic stigmata, ape-like. 2. Second is insane criminals, those who became criminals because of some brain defect, psychological problem, which affected their ability to understand and differentiate what is right from what is wrong. Third is criminaloids, those with makeup of an ambiguous group that includes habitual criminals or criminals by passion and other diverse types. Lastly is pseudo-criminals, those criminals that committed a criminal act due to self-defense. Enrico Ferri, he focused his study on the influences of psychological factors and sociological factors such as economics and politics on crimes. He believed that criminals could not be held morally responsible because they did not choose to commit crimes, but rather they were driven to commit crimes by conditions in their lives. He emphasized factors such as, first, physical factors including geographical climate, temperature, and etc. Second is the anthropological factors including psychological factors. Third is the social factors including economics and political factors as well as age, sex, education, and religion. Rafael Garofalo, he treated the roles of the criminals' behavior not to physical features but to their psychological equivalent, which he referred to as moral anomalies. He rejected the doctrine of free will. Classified criminals as, first is murderers, who motivated by revenge. Second is violent criminals, committed by violent crimes. Third is deficient criminals, committed crimes against properties. Fourth is lascivious criminals, committed crimes against charity and other sexual crimes. The Holy Three in Criminology, Garofalo. First, Rafael Garofalo. Second, Enrico Ferri. And lastly, Cesar Lombroso. The two main differences between the classical and positivist schools of criminology. So, the classical schools have two. First is free will and second is philosophy. The positivist school, first is determinism and two is scientific methods. De minimis is an addition to a general harm principle. The general harm principle fails to consider the possibility of other sanctions to prevent harm and the effectiveness of criminalization as a chosen option. Colagiani, a criminologist, described the indirect and direct deficiency of the means to satisfy the numerous necessities of my sufficient stimulus for him to adopt honest or criminal methods in the struggle that ensues. To this man, delinquency is strongly influenced by socio-economic. Crimes in criminals. What is crime? Crime refers to an act committed or omitted in violation of public law. It also refers to an act committed or omitted in violation of a public law forbidding or commanding it. So, crime would not be committed without any of its essential elements. So, first is desire. It is what induces or pushes the person to commit crime. Second is opportunity. This refers to the physical possibility that a crime could have been committed. Third is capability. It is the ability of the person to execute the acts or omission punishable by law.